Chris Rupert, Jorge Sotolongo, and I am Michael Pate, Chairman. Members of the city staff that are in attendance today are David Fanslaw, Planning Director, Eric England, Assistant Planning Director, Mike Carter, Current Planning Manager, Jennifer Taylor of the City Law Department, and Kathy Epperson, our Recording Secretary. Our rules of procedure are as follows. Notice of this hearing has been published. Copies of today's agenda are located on the table in front of us. You're welcome to come down and pick one up here at the table. The cases that are on consent agenda will be heard first. Consent cases have been recommended for layover, have already been heard, or are perceived by the Planning Board to be non-controversial. Therefore, they will be read and voted on without the opportunity for you to state your opinion on the case. If you wish to have this case discussed during the hearing, you may remove the case from the consent agenda. To do so, when each consent case is read, I will ask if anyone wants the case removed for discussion. If you do, please stand up and say so, and the case will be removed. This case will then be heard after we vote on the cases that remained on consent agenda. When the case is heard, you will have the opportunity to come to the podium, clearly state your name and address, and give your testimony at that time. When the hearing case is on the regular agenda, the board will first hear from the applicant, and after the applicant states their case, we will hear from the proponents, and then we will hear from the opponents. After both sides are heard, the public hearing will be closed and no additional testimony will be permitted unless a board member requests additional information. When at the podium, please clearly state your name, address, and whom you are here represented for the record. Your testimony is very important to us. In the interest of time and courtesy to others, please be short and to the point. We will try to limit each case to 10 minutes. Those directly involved in the case, please speak first. We request that large groups select a spokesperson to represent that group, therefore eliminating any repetitive testimony. When giving testimony, please provide new information and try not to repeat what has previously been said. We do ask that all speakers and others be treated with courtesy and with respect. In that regard, please remain silent while seated and please turn off your cell phones. Our decision to approve, deny, or continue a case made here today will be forwarded to the City Council for another public hearing and final disposition by the City Council. Conditional use permits are an exception to this rule. The board's decision made here today on conditional use permits are final and not forwarded on to the City Council. Lastly, upon the advice of the Law Department, all communications to the board members from attorneys or other interested parties should be transmitted through the Planning Department so that they are made part of the public record. The department will then transmit all that information to the board as well as to the rest of the public. A current copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act can be found in a white binder in this room. I don't have any changes to the consent agenda, so we will start with those items first. And I'll first read those items that are on consent for approval. The first one is item 1, KC 14-26-0449, the applicant's planning board. It's on consent for approval. The request is approval of vacation of a portion of the State Street right-of-way from Raven Oaks Drive to Willett Street. This was laid over from our February 4th, 2026 meeting. Does anybody like to have this removed? Okay, next is item 7, KC 10-26-083, C12 26084. The applicant is University of Nebraska Board of Regents. It's on consent for approval. The request is preliminary and final plat approval of the Briggs Place replat 15, a minor plat inside city limits with rezoning from CC to TOD1 MX, along with the repeal of the ACI overlay district. Portions of the property are located within the FF, flood fringe, and FW floodway overlay districts. The location is northeast of Saddle Creek Road and Farnham Street. Would anyone like to have this removed? Next is item 9, KC 1122-219. Applicant is 48 Dodge LLC, on consent for approval. The request is approval of a major amendment to the PUR, Planned Unit Redevelopment Overlay District. Location is 4647 Dodge Street. Would anyone like to have this removed? Next, item 10, KC 826-079. Applicant is Rachel Hunt, on consent for approval. The request is approval of a special use permit to allow a daycare general in the R3 district. The location is 10712 O Street. Would anyone like to have this removed? You want this, you want to testify on this case? Yes. Okay, this will be removed and will be heard. Next is item 12, case C7-26085. The applicant is University of Nebraska Board of Regents on consent for approval. The request is approval of conditional use permit to allow a parking structure in the TOD 1 MX district. The location is northeast of Saddle Creek Road and Farnham Street. This coincides with item 7 that we just read. Does anyone like to have this removed? Okay. Next is item 13, case C7-26086. The applicant is Christ the King Catholic School. It's on consent for approval. The request is approval of a major amendment to the presumed conditional use permit pursuant to section 55883Q to allow religious assembly in the R2 district. The location is 831 South 88th Street. Would anyone like to have this removed? Next is item 14, case C7-26087. The applicant is Daniel Bezos. It's on consent for approval. The request is approval of a conditional use permit to allow an accessory dwelling unit in the R4 35 district. The location is 2532 North 64th Street. Would anyone like to have this removed? Yes. Okay, we'll remove that and that'll be heard. Okay, those are the cases that are on consent for approval. We have one case on consent for layover. I'll read that one. It's item 4, case C3-26088. The applicant is Planning Department on behalf of the City of Omaha. It is on consent for layover. The request is approval of an amendment to the Chapter 55 zoning regarding residential parking regulations. The location is Omaha and the 3-mile extraterritorial zoning jurisdiction. Would anyone like to have this removed? Okay. All right, that completes our consent agenda cases. We'll have 2 cases removed, case 10 and 14 from the consent. I now need a motion to for the consent agenda items on for approval.
Motion to approve cases 1, 7, 9, 12, and 13.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Kathy, please record the vote.
Rosacker?
Yes.
Sotolongo?
Yes.
Sullivan?
Yes.
Rupert? Yes. Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Approved,
Thank you.
5-0.
Thank you. Now I need a motion for the consent item on for layover.
Motion to lay over case number 4. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Kathy, please record the vote.
Sotolongo?
Yes.
Sullivan?
Yes.
Rupert? Yes. Rosacker?
Yes.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Approved, 5-0.
Okay. Well, now we'll move into the regular agenda, and we'll take those cases that were on consent for approval that were taken off first, and then we'll move into the other items after that. So the first item was number 10 that was taken off for approval, consent for approval, and that was case C8-26079. The applicant is Rachel Hunt. It's on consent. It was on consent for approval. The request is approval of a special use permit to allow a daycare general in the R3 district, location of 10712 O Street. May we hear from the applicant? Is the applicant here? Yeah, that's fine.
So I'm Rachel Hunt,
Need your address too, please.
10712 O Street, Omaha,
Could
Nebraska.
you repeat that for the
Yeah, 10712 O Street, Omaha, Nebraska 68127.
Thank you.
So I don't know if I did that right.
Well, so it was on consent for approval, which means if it were voted on as a consent item and it was approved, it would have been completed.
Oh well, that was the
is that-
goal. My
I
apologies.
assume you wanted approved.
Yeah, I was just thought I had to speak. That was my understanding for coming here. So no, I would like it approved.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll have to hear now if there's any opponents to this too. You know, I assume you're here in favor of it. Obviously.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Apologies. Sorry, guys.
No problems. No worries. All right. Are there any other proponents that wish to speak on that case? Are there any opponents? If not, I'll close the public hearing. Eric.
Hey, if you're going to come down, might as well speak, right?
Yeah.
That's okay.
It's all right. Yeah, at least you got to see how we operate here, right?
Obviously, we discussed this in the pre-meeting, increase the daycare up to 12 individuals. Staff recommends approval of the special use permit to allow daycare services in the R3 district, subject to the 3 conditions in the report.
Okay, thank you, Eric. Okay, any questions? If not, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve the special use permit to allow a daycare service general in the R3 district, subject to the following 3 conditions in the report.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Kathy, please record the vote.
Sullivan?
Yes.
Rupert? Yes. Rosacker?
Yes.
Sotolongo?
Yes.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Approved 5-0.
Very good, thank you. You're good. All right, next is, the item that was taken off was item 14, case C726-087. The applicant is Daniel Bezos. On consent for approval, it's taken off. Now, the request is approval of a conditional use permit to allow an accessory dwelling unit in the R435 district. The location is 2532 North 64th Street. May we hear from the applicant? Are you the applicant? No. Okay, is the applicant here? Okay. If not, are there any proponents that wish to speak on this? Seeing none, I assume you're an opponent. Are you an opponent to this case? Like to testify against it? Would you like to testify against this? I'm not sure. Well, why don't you come forward and we'll find out. And when you come to, please enter your name and address for the record too, please.
My name is Deanna Cato, and I reside at 2519 North 64th Street in Omaha, 68104. My concerns are it says mixed dwelling on the form that we received in mail. Wasn't sure what that meant. Is that for the resident and perhaps someone living in the back home as a resident? Is it going to be, when you say mixed use, is it going to be a recovery center? We don't know what's actually going back there. And also we wanted to know green space. Is there a certain percentage of the property that has to have more green space than buildings? And looking at the back of that property, that seems like it would take up a lot of green space.
Are you a neighbor?
I'm across the street.
You're across the street from, okay.
Yeah. So my main question was, when we say mixed dwelling, what do we mean by that? Are you going to do A and then turn around and do B?
Yeah, it's actually called an accessory dwelling unit.
No, I know what accessory. Usually in the West Coast, they usually have more of those
Right.
than they do in central Omaha, but in the mid of the country. But yeah, I didn't know what they were going to do with that property. Like, I mean,
Okay.
we were the neighbors talking. That doesn't say a lot. I mean, I'm concerned about it being a recovery home in the back, or even maybe the whole thing, or is the front going to be duplexes and then we're going to have the back, you know?
Yeah, Eric will give you an explanation here.
Okay.
Okay, is that all you had?
Is that it? That's it for
Is
me?
that all you had?
I'm good.
Okay.
I just need those
Well,
answers.
Eric will answer your questions for you here in a second.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other opponents that wish to speak? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Eric?
Yeah, so this application is for a conditional use permit for an accessory dwelling unit, otherwise known as an ADU. So back in early 2023, the City of Omaha changed our zoning code to adopt new criteria and regulations regarding accessory dwelling unit, or basically a new residential unit. So within those new criteria and codes, there are about 10 different zoning districts that permit an ADU outright. Those are usually your higher density zone districts. Then there's about 10 additional districts where it requires a conditional use permit. So this site has a low density residential classification or zoning, which is the R4 district. So the applicant is required to make the application for a conditional use permit and provide plans and submit those, and that is what is under consideration for today. So it is just for one additional residence in addition to the existing house. So the new ADU will be located in the rear of the property with access. There will be a garage on the main floor and then residential living on the second floor above the garage. So it'll be accessed off of the alley. The zoning does not allow any recovery home or anything like that. As part of the review, we look at the amount of green space and building coverage, and there are certain regulations that are required. This application is providing 60% of the site is covered by what we would call green space, which is well within the limits that are allowed for an ADU unit. So they are not seeking any waivers. the proposed use is fully compliant with the regulations that are allowed in this district, and so staff is recommending approval. I'll read the official recommendation if the board has any questions. I think I answered Deanna's questions. Staff recommends approval of the conditional use permit to allow an ADU in the R435 district subject to the 5 conditions in the report.
Okay, thank you. Before we ask for a vote, did he answer your questions for you?
Yes.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
So the ADU is the
Why don't you come forward if you have additional questions?
ADU two-car garage?
Come, yeah, please, for the record, we need you to come to the podium if you have questions.
Stay up here. I'm just kidding. No, the ADU, so this is just the, it's a two-car garage with living quarters on top.
Yep,
That's correct.
Okay. Do we know how long that's going to be? That, like, this disruption for the neighborhood? How long that, the build?
I don't know the construction timing or how long that would take, but after the planning board, if approved today, then they would need to submit for building permits and go through that official review with our department. And assuming that is issued, then as is standard with any other building permit, they have a certain time frame to begin. So I don't know the timeline, but I would expect it to be fairly
And the
quick.
reason I'm asking is currently, right now, it's probably been about 3 years, MUD is destroying the intersection, like north of that, like at Miami and 64th. They're doing the water connections, so it's like a few doors down. So between the two of those construction projects.
I understand. Yeah, I don't know the MUD construction timeline
Okay.
or
Well, they just
specifically for
started
this.
tearing up the sidewalks in the intersection.
Okay.
So. Okay, that answered my questions. I will relay.
Okay, thank you.
I will
Thank
not
you.
come down here. Thank
No,
you.
that's fine.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. I close the public hearing, and we do have a recommendation for the planning department. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve conditional use permit to allow accessory dwelling unit in the R435 district, subject to the 5 conditions in the staff report.
Thank you. You have a motion and a second. Kathy, please record the vote.
Rupert?
Yes.
Rosacker?
Yes.
Sotolongo? Sullivan?
Yes.
Mr. Chair?
Yes,
Approved 5-0.
thank you. All right, that completes our items that were on consent for approval or layover. We'll now move into the regular meeting, public hearing meeting. First is item 2, which is case C3-26047. The applicant is Planning Department. On behalf of the City of Omaha, the request is approval of the 2501 Center TIF redevelopment project plan. The location is west of 25th Avenue and Center Street. We hear from the applicant.
Good afternoon, Don Seaton, City Planning. This is an affordable housing project at 25th and Center. There are 2 large industrial buildings on the site. Those will be demolished. They'll be replaced with an affordable housing apartment complex with 180 units. There will also be 18 row house units built on some lots at the north end of the development site. They too will be affordable units. Total project investment, about $56.5 million. TIF support requested. Show some renderings. Is $3,613,528. It's a good project, affordable housing, infill. We ask for your support.
Thank you, Don. Are there any proponents, other proponents wish to speak? Are there any opponents? Oop, are you? Proponent, please come forward.
Rahul Agarwal, part of the ownership and development group for 2501 Center. Just wanted to give a little overview. Don, thank you for the words. We're at 1901 Howard Street, Suite 200. We're excited about the project, 141 bedroom, 42 bedroom units, and 18 4-bedroom townhouses, affordable rents, and we know these 2 buildings have been kind of an eyesore to the community, a lot of break-ins, vandalism, so we're just kind of excited to to get going with financial closing, start the process in coming weeks, and then would start demolition and construction in August of this year.
August?
Correct.
How long do you think it'll take to?
21 months.
21? Yeah, it'd be nice for that area.
We're excited about it, yeah. Definitely a good start to redeveloping that area.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other proponents? Okay, you're seeing none. Are there any opponents that wish to speak? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Eric?
Yeah, so obviously, in recent months, we had other entitlement processes that came before this planning board for this project, so you are familiar in some of the conversations that were held about that. So regarding the TIF, on today's agenda, staff recommends approval.
Okay, thank you, Eric. Do I have a motion?
Motion approved.
We have a motion and a second. Kathy, please record the vote.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Rupert,
Yes.
Rosacker,
Yes.
Sotolongo. Mr. Chair,
Yes,
approved 5-0.
thank you. Next is item 3, KC 326077. Applicant is Planning Department on behalf of the City of Omaha. The request is approval of the Novella Senior Living TIF Redevelopment Project Plan. Location is 4809 Redmond Avenue. May we hear from the applicant, Don?
Yeah, good afternoon, Don Seaton, Omaha City Planning Department. This project involves a single lot, fairly large, about 5.3 acres, located at 4809 Redmond Avenue. There is a vacant former nursing home on the site, about 32,000 square feet. Pretty long vacant, and it's been having some troubles with vandalism and unauthorized access to the site. It'd be good to see this building fixed up. That 32,000 square foot building will be completely rehabilitated, and a large 3-story addition of about 100,000 square feet will be constructed. The addition is this 3-story T-shaped piece of the project that you see in this rendering. Project will have a total of 160 units. That includes 136 affordable housing units and 24 market rate units. This is a senior living project, apartment complex. The developer is Novella LLC, managed by Jim Posey. Total investment in this part of North Omaha will be $36.5 million approximately. The TIF support for the project is $2,807,125. This meets the criteria of the city's TIF program. It's appropriate land use for the area. It complies with our master plan. We ask for your approval.
Thank you, Don. Are there any other proponents that wish to speak?
Hello, Jacob Starnes with Straight Line Development, 16255 Woodland Drive, Omaha, Nebraska. I'm a proponent of the project. I think Don gave a great overview, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Yeah, what's your timeline on this project?
Probably 20 to 24 month construction timeline. We're hoping to get started in October of this year and wrap it up by October of 28.
Yeah. Be good for the area.
What was that?
It'd be good for that area.
Oh, yeah.
Look
yeah.
nice. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other proponents? Are there any opponents? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Eric?
Yeah, I just wanted to point out both the previous case and as well as this one, providing over 300 units of affordable housing in 2 different parts of our city. So we always love to see that, and staff recommends approval.
Very good, thank you. Okay, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve. Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Kathy, please record the vote.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Rupert,
Yes.
Rosacker,
Yes.
Sotolongo.
Yes.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
approved 5-0.
Okay, next is item 5, and we'll also hear item 6 together. They're related, so we'll hear both of them together. First is item 5, KC 326090. The applicant is RH Land Management Company, LLC. Request is approval of an amendment to the future land use element of the city's master plan to expand the 24th and Lake Street mixed-use boundary. The location is southwest of Lake Street and 25th Street. Item 6 is case C10-26075, C12-26076. Applicant is also RH Land Management Company, LLC. Request is preliminary and final plat approval of the Lake Street Grocery Store addition, a minor plat inside city limits with rezoning from R7 and GC to NBD and expansion of the ACI 1 overlay district. The location is southwest of Lake Street and 25th Street. May we hear from the applicant, please?
Hello, Eric Westman, Alley Brenner Mikado Architecture. This project, I'll show you a site plan in a minute, is a grocery store that will be operated by a local nonprofit that's here to join us, the Heart Ministry Center.
So can you repeat that? It's going to be owned by a nonprofit.
So it'll be operated by the Heart Ministry Center, who can join today and kind of share some of their mission and kind of what their goals are for the project. So this project would vacate Lizzie Robinson
Eric,
Avenue.
if you could zoom out on the button on the top for us. Thank you. Up top, there's a scroll button. There you go. Perfect.
So this would be a 24,000 square foot grocery store and would vacate Lizzie Robinson Avenue, and we are doing right-of-way improvements on the Lake Street side, 25th and 26th Street. Have worked with Spark to navigate the path to coordinate with the North Omaha Trail that will pass by the west side, and I've worked with planning to make sure that we're kind of in line and meeting that and all the requirements of the right-of-way for the public improvements. So yeah, the long story short, those will provide on-street and on-site parking. Drop-off is a standard grocery store for a full-service fresh food option. I don't believe there's any more detail on that other than we are dedicating some right-of-way in order to swap that land that is Lizzie Robinson, and I think we've worked all that out. So we have other proponents here that could introduce themselves, and we're here if you have any questions.
Okay, thank you. Okay, other proponents.
Terry Morrison with Earhart Griffin and Associates, 3552 Farnham Street. I'm the civil engineer on the project. I'm here to answer any questions related to that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Dominic Ron, Heart Ministry Center, 2222 Benny Street. I serve as the CEO of the Heart Ministry Center. Our mission is to provide food, health care, and a way forward to people severely affected by poverty in the Omaha area. I'm here as a proponent and strong support of this vote to commit space for commercial zoning so that we can move forward in the in the proposed grocery store project. Not just to develop, this is just not just a developed project, but as a long-term investment in health stability and economic future of North Omaha and greater metropolitan area. For many years, the Heart Ministry Center has worked alongside the community and has witnessed firsthand the gaps that exist, which are limited access to fresh and affordable food, barriers to employment, and lack of reinvestment in the neighborhood. This project directly addresses those gaps. This will not just be a place to buy groceries, but a community-centered store designed to increase access to fresh food, create jobs, and serve as a pathway to employment through our Fresh Start Workforce Development Program, as well as providing employment opportunities for our community members. What makes this model different is that it's a social enterprise. That means revenue generated doesn't leave the community. It gets reinvested back into the people, into opportunity and stability. Although we will work with a food distributor, much of the grocery store offerings will be shaped by the community. Through listening sessions, partnerships, and ongoing engagement to ensure the store reflects the needs, culture, and voice of the neighbors it serves. From an economic standpoint, this project will activate a key corridor, bring jobs, and serve tens of thousands of residents in the surrounding area. But beyond the numbers, this project is about dignity. It's about ensuring that families don't have to travel miles for fresh food, that individuals have access to meaningful employment, that a neighborhood sees investment that reflects its value. We believe that this project aligns with the city's goals for growth, equity, and sustainable development, and today we're asking for your support in doing the next right thing and voting to take this next step forward. Thank you for your time and consideration.
I have a couple questions for you.
Yes, sir.
Dominic, was it?
Dominique.
Dominic, okay.
Yes, sir.
Great project for the area.
Thank you.
Very excited to see this. Obviously, there's a void of these types of services in that area, so great service. How many employees do you expect to have?
Yep,
once you're fully?
At least 30 employees. Portion of those will be our Fresh Start graduates as well as community members that we'll employ.
And can you explain a little bit about your Fresh Start program and how they graduate and really?
Absolutely. So as a part of our mission, the Away Forward piece, we work with what we call our Fresh Start program. These are individuals who come to us from prison, from homelessness, from three-quarter way, halfway homes. They're in recovery. These are folks who need a fresh start in their life. And so they come through our program, work 9 months in our food distribution area, where we distribute the most food in the state. Last year, 3.2 million pounds of food. The year before, 4 million pounds of food. So they work in that area, gain some soft skills. They work in our intake areas. They do some internships in the Heart Ministry Center. And then we graduate them as they show their skills and abilities. As they graduate, we then place them with a community employer. That community employer would be one of those, the grocery store, in fact.
That's great.
Yeah.
So I assume they're going to need certain skills in order to perform the duties as expected in this, right? So
Yes,
do you
sir.
have a training program then that you're going to offer them to give them the skills that they're going to need?
Yeah.
Because we want this to succeed, obviously, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's a workforce development training program currently. And so we're getting folks ready to just work with community employers. We also have other social enterprises that folks are able to work in and gain skills. Our laundromat right on 24th Street, Fresh Floral in Dundee. So they're gaining those skills along the way. The grocery store would just so happen to be the largest of those social enterprises.
And do you have someone on staff or get someone on staff that's experienced in running a grocery store or supermarket
Absolutely.
operation?
Absolutely. Okay. The goal is for it to be around for a long time, stability and sustainability. And so we'll get the right people doing the right jobs. Absolutely.
Great.
Yeah.
Great program.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay. Are there any other proponents that wish to speak? Seeing none, are there any opponents? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Eric.
Yeah, so I don't think I need to add anything, operationally. The agenda item number 5 is a minor adjustment to the future land use map. At 24th and Lake, there is a mixed-use intersection, and along with that, there's usually a mixed-use boundary of where commercial and office zoning can be supported. So there's a slight modification in that map, and that's agenda item number 5. So I will read that recommendation. You'll take 2 separate votes for 5 and 6. So for specifically agenda item 5, staff recommends approval.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Kathy, please record the vote.
Rupert?
Yes.
Rosacker?
Yes.
Sotolongo?
Yes.
Sullivan?
Yes.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Approved 5-0.
Thank you.
For agenda item 6, this is the plat and the rezoning component. So there are a few more items being recommended. Staff recommends approval of the rezoning from R7 and GC to MBD, approval of the ACI 1 overlay district, approval of the preliminary plat subject to 8 conditions in the report, and approval of the final plat subject to submittal of an acceptable final subdivision agreement prior to City Council.
Thank you. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve the rezoning from R7 and GC to MBD. Approval of the ACI 1 overlay district. Approval of the preliminary plat subject to the 8 conditions in the staff report. And approval of the final plat subject to conditions of the preliminary plat approval and submittal of an acceptable final subdivision agreement prior to forwarding to City Council.
Great. Do I have a second? Thank you. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Kathy, please record the vote.
Rosacker?
Yes.
Sotolongo?
Yes.
Sullivan?
Yes.
Rupert? Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Approved 5-0.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Good luck.
Thank you. Good job.
All right. Next is item 8, case C10-26080, C11-26081, C7-26082. The applicant is 807 Acquisition LLC. The request is approval of a PUR, Planned Unit Redevelopment Overlay District, with the rezoning from R1 to LO, along with approval of a conditional use permit to allow multiple family residential in the LO district, an expansion of the ACI 2 Area of Civic Importance Overlay District. The location is 7630 Pacific Street. May we hear from the applicant, please?
Good afternoon, Randy Kushak with Lamper & Earson, 14710 West Dodge Road, Omaha, Nebraska. Here on behalf of the applicant, 807 Acquisition LLC, and the developer Parkway Development.
1 second, Randy. Sorry. For those in the back, if you could take it outside the room, thank you.
Thanks.
Could you give your name again? I didn't catch it.
Yeah, Randy Kushak with Lamper & Earson, 14710 West Dodge Road, Omaha, Nebraska. Here on behalf of the applicant, Parkway Development is the developer of this project. They've done several multifamily projects around town in the past. This is a 34-unit apartment complex. It is a 4-floor wood frame residential over top of a parking garage in concrete. The location of this project is between 76th and 78th Street on Pacific Street on the north side. The existing use is a single-family residence, R1 zoning. We're just looking to move that to LO zoning, which is similar to what's adjacent. With that, to go into multifamily, we do need to have a conditional use permit, which those regulations kick us into R6 zoning code, which leads us to a few waivers that we've got for this type of a project in this location. We believe the project is suitable for this area, and with that, we've got 34 parking stalls, so we're asking for a waiver to have a parking stall per unit, which is something that this developer is comfortable with. They've done that on several other projects, and they know how to manage a project that has that type of parking ratio, and they do not have concerns with that. Our access is off of Pacific Street. We've been working with staff on an acceptable project here. We're going to maintain a buffer yard to the north, which is where there's some R1 zoning that still remains up in the residential areas. The developer met earlier this week virtually for a public meeting. They sent out letters to everybody within 300 feet of the project. They received 3 people attended that meeting. Both neighbors to each side of the office buildings were in attendance, and the commercial strip center to the south side of Pacific was in attendance as well. They were all supportive of the project and excited for it to move forward. The developer also received a call from a resident in the single family to the north. They were just looking for information. He did not indicate that they had any concerns at that point. So with that, we believe this is a good project. Obviously, there's going to be some engineering and challenges to work through on the site just with the proximity, but we're prepared to work through that. So here to answer any questions you may have.
What kind of challenges do you anticipate?
Anytime that there's a project with short setbacks to each side, you've got to have a contractor that understands those and can work through that. We've had several projects that have had those tight boundaries and worked with those contractors before. The other piece is stormwater management. You got to get a little bit creative, and you've got to work through some items with how that's stored, and a developer that understands that you've got to work around the stormwater management to meet those regulations and not just force it. So we believe we've got that case here. We understand that we do have to have a home for that stormwater to go, converting from a single family to a lot of impervious, and that there's challenges related to OPPD, utilities, all aspects that we've just got to work through and do our due diligence and talk to the right people and work through that.
And as an engineer, you're you think that you're going to be able to find that
Yes.
this project to work?
Yes, we've worked on similar projects with this developer in tight sites. 50th and Leavenworth is one example that has come before this board in the past that is nearly completion of construction that had OPPD, utility, tight site, stormwater, all the above that we worked through. And even that one was a former gas station, so it had some remediation to some soils that had to happen. So we have a good team in place, and we believe we can tackle all those issues.
You only have about 6 feet on either side, right?
That's correct.
You got some room in the back, but you can't get there.
That is
You got an
correct.
overhead line, so.
Yeah, the anticipation would be working with OPBD to bury the line to the east side, single phase. That would be within distance that's not allowed by OSHA for that line. So we're aware of those clearances. Those communications have to occur. With a project like this where we're asking for so many waivers, we just want to run it through the public boards, understand and make sure that we have a feasible project. We've been looking in the background at that due diligence of how we can make this work. And then those formal conversations and estimates of fees and things like that will occur in the coming months here.
Great. Thanks, Randy. Okay, are there any other proponents that wish to speak? Seeing none, are there any opponents? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Eric, I have one question for you. How many units are allowed in an LO zoning area?
Well, LO, whenever you have residential, follows the R6 requirements. So typically that would be 2,000 square foot for a site area per unit. So that's about 22 units per acre. Now, this is more dense than that. The justification in our support is the applicant could have rezoned to R7, R8, which does allow a more dense product. We would have been supportive of that, provided they could meet the 1-to-1 parking ratio. That would have allowed a taller unit. It would have also increased the buffer yard on the north. So after discussions of what those options could be, the applicant chose to provide the shorter building, but also does have the reduced 20-foot buffer yard in the back. So as part of the PUR, we are supporting a more dense project than what R6 would typically allow, but based on those factors of, the master plan does support more dense zoning.
Okay, thank you. You're on. Go ahead.
Sorry, I wasn't sure.
That's okay.
You call proponents, opponents. I'm still up. Thanks.
I got close to public hearing.
Yep. Okay, so obviously Randy gave a good breakdown. It is a tight site, obviously. It's definitely an improvement, and making the sidewalks work and the utility box and tying into the existing retaining walls on both sides, that's obviously a little challenging. But staff is supportive of the proposed modifications of the typical zoning regulations that would be required. Staff recommends approval of the rezoning from R1 to LO, approval of the ACI 2 overlay district, approval of the PUR overlay district, subject to submitting final PUR plans prior to forwarding to City Council, and approval of the conditional use permit to allow multifamily in the LO district, subject to the 10 conditions in the report.
Okay, thank you. Okay, you have any questions? Not, do I have a, go ahead, question? Yeah.
Randy,
Yes, sir.
you're a civil engineer, is that right?
Yes, I am.
Just curious, where will the water go on this project? Obviously down.
Yeah, so the existing water flow from the site moves from the north end towards the south end, towards Pacific Street, and a little bit towards the retaining wall that's to the east. We'll collect it. There's a back patio behind this building that's proposed. We expect there to be underground detention chambers in that building. We've got a lot of grade from that point, so those chambers can be pretty deep. And then that piping would be routed through the building's subsurface garage piping system out to Pacific Street to a tie-in to existing storm sewer infrastructure that is in Pacific Street.
Is there any special investigation of tie-ins at this point, given the nature of the infrastructure in that area?
Yeah, so one of our next steps in the process would be to reach out to the Public Works Department through their information request system. As we develop our true taps, at this time, a mechanical engineer isn't on the project team, it's civil and architecture. As the mechanical engineer comes on board, we'll work through that exact tap location that we want to go through, submit that through the city's existing procedures. Most likely what will occur is the city will look at what historical CCTV they have, how recent that is. If it's not recent enough, we'll go out there and we'll contract to have somebody look at those sewers, evaluate them, and then Public Works will be in charge of telling us whether we can or can't tap. the sewer and what the nature of that tap will look like, if it has to be a manhole, or what that would look like. And that would be for both the sanitary sewer and the storm sewer adjacent.
You
to the
don't
site.
anticipate anything other than a routine analysis and tie-in?
I would expect it would be a routine analysis. Our stormwater flows will meet or reduce the flows of existing that go to that pipe. Sanitary, we'll have to provide impact calculations of what our use will look like versus that single-family home. We anticipate getting that in sooner than later, just for the city to, or for Public Works to make a determination on that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Randy. Okay. You give your recommendation. Yep. Okay, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve the rezoning from R1 to LO, approval of the ACI 2 area of civic importance overlay, approval of the PUR overlay district, subject to submitting acceptable PUR development plans prior to forwarding request to City Council, approval of the conditional use permit allowing multiple family residential in the LO district, subject to the 10 described conditions.
Thank you. Second.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Kathy, please record the vote.
Sotolongo?
Yes.
Sullivan?
Yes.
Rupert? Yes. Rosacker?
Yes.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Approved 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right, our last item is item 15. Two more? Which one? Oh, 11, yeah, 11. Thank you. Yeah, all right. Item 11 is case C725-267. Applicant is Darren Goodsell. Request is approval of a major amendment to a conditional use permit to allow an accessory dwelling unit in the DR district. The location is 9333 North 156th Street. May we hear from the applicant?
Yes, Darwin Goodsell, 9333 North 156th Street. I'm here to ask for your approval to add an additional driveway to the property for the auxiliary unit in the back of the property. The request is made because of the facilitation of the driveway would be better on the south side of the house as indicated in the lot plot. Secondly, if it was moved to the north side of the house, it would result in it going over an existing septic system on the property, which would result in either damage to the system or a rework of the system. In reviewing of trying to put this together, the consideration was also looked at the neighborhood and what's currently in the area. There are other properties that do have dual driveways, along with other properties that actually have abutting driveways, which are next to each other. So the request of ours of having about a 65-foot to 75-foot distance between the two entrances would be consistent with what's in the area of that street.
You obviously know that this is on for denial.
Yes.
Right? So question for you. If the requirement is to only have one accessible driveway, can you extend your existing driveway to the point of that accessory dwelling unit?
Through the north side?
Be on the north side, and then extend it back to the south, probably in the back of your existing residence there.
Yes, I mean, that would be the, if it's denied and it's kept to be only one driveway, then the option would have to be to go to the north side, which if you look where the shop is currently at, and you look at the distance between the shop, I believe we've got probably about 15 to 20 feet. Mm-hmm. So the driveway would have to go between there. And as you get to the back of the shop, there should be the overlay that shows the septic drain field. And you can see that there's two drain field lines that would eventually cross over if it went down all the way. Other than that, it would cross kitty corner across potentially 4 of the drain fields.
Okay. But it is a possibility.
With it going against the shop, there is a elevation difference, and then obviously the elevation difference against the property next door. So there would have to be retaining walls and other items put in to allow it to go along the shop with probably appropriate amount of right of way, or at least room for a vehicle to pass through there.
And it looks like to the south there, you've got some sort of a gravel entrance into that.
Correct. There's an existing gravel driveway right there.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions for Darwin? Okay, thank you. Are there any other proponents that wish to speak? Seeing none, are there any opponents? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Eric?
Yeah, so obviously, there was a previous approval for the accessory dwelling unit that had the second driveway, and one of the conditions was to remove that so that there's just the one driveway. Just for clarification, if today's request is denied, it's specifically to the major amendment that the original ADU still that condition is still applicable. Yeah, for a couple of reasons, the city cannot support the second driveway. For one, the accessory dwelling unit code language prohibits a second driveway on a street frontage. If it's on a corner lot, there's an exception for that. So that's the first part. And then the second part, public works regulations and policies with the direct access on this site to an arterial street, 156th Street, that creates additional driveways and access points on arterial streets with the higher speeds, creates more dangerous situations. So obviously the existing house has the driveway. The driveway could remain in the same location, or if it was chosen to establish the new driveway on the south and eliminate the northern driveway. I know that doesn't necessarily align with the detached garage to the northeast or to the east of the existing residence, but that's an option as well. So we do have Ryan Haas from Public Works here if you have any specific questions on access and arterial streets and how those are handled. But for both of those reasons, the city cannot support the second driveway. We acknowledge that maybe some configuration could be done or, really additional costs. Unfortunately, that's not something that we can consider with our regulations that are applied here. So staff recommends denial.
Okay. Thank you, Eric. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
Motion to deny.
We have a motion and a second. Kathy, please record the vote.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Rupert. Yes. Rosacker,
Yes.
Sotolongo.
Yes.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
denial approved 5-0.
Thank you. Okay, now our last item is 15. Item 15, case C726089. The applicant is Youth Emergency Services, Inc. The request is approval of a conditional use permit to allow a non-commercial day shelter in the CBD Central Business District. Property is located within the ACI Area of Civic Importance Overlay District. The location is 2566 and 2570 Farnham Street. May we hear from the applicant?
Jeff Stoll with E&A Consulting Group, 109.
I'm sorry, what was your first name again?
Jeff Stoll.
Okay.
10909 Mill Valley Road. I've said it way too many times. Sorry about that. I'm here on behalf of the applicant with Youth Emergency Services. A little brief background on this overall project for them. They originally came here about 5 years ago on a different site to look at doing the same thing they're trying to do today. I won't get into the various reasons of why they've pivoted, but they've made a decision in the last 5 years to pivot to this site to do what they want to do. And that their goal for them is to consolidate all their different offices into one main large building. And so they've chose this site as their location. If you don't know, YES is a organization that provides housing and support to youth experiencing crisis, instability, or homelessness. So that's basically their vision, is to help support them in their time of need. This site in particular will be providing services for their administrative, their program services, as well as their youth pathways navigation center. It's commonly known today as their outreach center, which is located about a block south. And then their supportive residential housing programs, both short-term and long-term. This is what they're planning to do for this site.
What is your role with
E&A? I'm here to help them support, get this project completed, get this zoning done. Was tied to that with them at their old location from a civil side perspective, but since it's an existing building, just here to help them get their zoning approved. And there is a member here with yes if we have any other questions. But on this particular site, Staff-wise, they're looking at having roughly 20 to 35 staff members here. Hour-wise of operations, somewhere between 9 and 5. There will be some supportive for their 24-hour services available, so there'll be a couple staff members overnight. While this is in the CBD zoning, so parking is not really a concern, there is a underground parking garage here to help support that. I believe they can handle up to 15 to 18 vehicles for the staff members. And then Yes has agreements out there with other surface parking areas to handle any overflow needs there. I'm here to answer any questions you guys may have.
I'll probably have a couple more questions for you, maybe some of the board members will too, but you said there's a member from Yes here?
Yes.
Okay. Is that you?
Mm-hmm.
If I could ask you to come forward.
Mm-hmm.
If you could please enter your name and address, and then your role with the organization.
Of course, Lenise Steiker, 5812 Poppleton, and I'm a board member.
Okay. What was your first name again?
Lenise, Lynece.
And you're a board member?
Correct.
Okay. How involved are you in the day-to-day operations of?
I'm not.
You're not.
I've been a board member for 7 years. I'm very involved.
Okay. So you can't answer any questions about security?
Oh, absolutely.
Can you?
Yep.
Okay, so what do you anticipate in terms of security, both monitoring and just physical security of?
Sure.
Yeah.
So we will be having cameras, obviously, like all access points will be controlled.
Inside and outside?
Inside and outside. Cameras on the exterior, especially in the alleyway, as we do have a garage that actually dumps onto that north alley.
Okay. And how do the youth find you?
Usually they are referred.
By churches, by?
Churches. We, for the most part, these youth are not involved in the criminal justice system at all.
Or they just come from troubled families?
Many families. We also get referrals from school counselors, as well as teachers through OPS and through like other districts as well.
Okay. So the ones that use your services from 9 to 5, I think is your operational hours, right? What kind of support are you providing them in that realm of 9 to 5?
Through 9 to 5, we serve one hot meal a day. We provide pantry bags, boutique, such as like, hygiene products, coats, those sorts of things, as well as any sort of school issues, finding IDs for these kids, and then hopefully like getting them into like a more supportive, permanent space.
Do you provide any kind of counseling during that time as well?
Absolutely. We have mental health counseling 24/7. Yeah.
Okay. And if you find a youth that has deeper issues,
of course,
that need attention, what do you do with that individual then? Do you try and house them? Do you try and refer them to the appropriate
we
agency?
actually like have many partnerships with other organizations who can actually assist with that until they are stabilized.
Okay. And now you have, I think I heard 7 different operational locations?
Correct. So we have 7 different houses and leases as well, from office perspective, from this drop-in center, which is right at 26th and Harney, about a block away, I think as Mr. Stoll said. Yes, so basically we are bringing everybody underneath one roof.
Okay. Why this location?
That's a really great question. I think Mr. Stoll actually referenced that we have been working on a project for about 5 years, about 2 blocks directly to the south of us. Unfortunately, with some issues with developer, that unfortunately did not happen. And we were awarded some NSORG money, and I really wanted to keep us within the QCT.
Within the what?
Within the QCT,
okay.
The Qualified Census Tract. Absolutely. We don't. Absolutely. Absolutely. They also like go through like a lot of touches before they even go into housing. So again, we're able to kind of vet those things. So no, we don't have any issues whatsoever.
How many youth do you encounter on an average month? Would you?
An average month?
Yeah, just on average.
I believe, I do not know. Mr. Justel, Jeff, do you have that?
More than.
I know
more
that
than
about
50?
on a daily basis, we see about 20 individuals daily.
Daily.
Yes.
Daily. Okay. I thought it was. Yeah.
And that's between 9 and 5.
Yeah. So you're at 500 to 600 to 700 kids a month, youth per month.
Probably.
Possibly. Not more. Yeah. Great service.
Thank you. We are, I think we just hit our 52nd year in service in the community.
So people that know where your locations are currently, how are they going to know about your new location once you get to operate, assuming this gets approved?
Probably like through partners. I think we also have found that youth who are currently living on the streets, they become part of our community as well. So just word of mouth also is usually the case. We normally do not like put out big signage and those sorts of things.
All right.
Is there anything else?
Thanks for being here.
You bet.
Okay, are there any other proponents? Seeing none, are there any opponents that wish to speak?
Good afternoon, Ted Zetzman, 9731 Haskell Street. So my family owns the properties immediately to the east of there, which would be 2558, 2562, and 2550. Farnham Street, they've owned and operated those buildings for about 75 years. So welcome to the neighborhood. It certainly seems like a worthy cause and something, a need that is necessary in the community. I guess I would say that we're disappointed in that we haven't had any communication, no outreach, or the first we heard of it was their zoning application, the letter. So I feel like that's not typically the way it's conducted here in Omaha, so we're a little disappointed in that and would very much like to have those conversations to understand the operation a little bit more. I would mention, there's a lot of things going on in the neighborhood. The streetcar is coming. There is, we have a plan for the properties to consolidate those operations of the existing business into about 17,000 square feet at 2562 Farnham, and then create some redevelopment opportunities for about 6,400 square feet of retail, 18 residential units, and 129 multifamily residential units. And so we kind of question the viability, or if we don't, other people also, our potential tenants and or buyers, may question the viability of that next to this service. So I think there's some concern about that. Again, a lot of their stuff says it's internally. There won't be any external factors, but I guess that really hasn't been explained to us to really understand, if that's true or hopeful. I would mention that it's not just, there's another thing from just a planning perspective. I think it's something maybe worth mentioning. So RISE, who does transitional housing for formerly incarcerated, they are about 500 feet on the other side of Douglas Street, so just within a couple block area. And I feel sort of analogous to, I think when we looked at housing, we found that housing projects, when you consolidate a bunch of the same people or uses into the same area, didn't work really well. Sometimes having dispersed is sometimes better. And so I do wonder, between RISE and YES and what Coons, are we consolidating a lot of services all into a few blocks? And I don't know about the planning wisdom of that, but it's probably something that the planners might want to consider. Specifically, as I mentioned, the redevelopment, there was a concern because there is some retail space. Likely there would be a restaurant. That restaurant would likely have a liquor license. I know there's been some communication with the law, between law and planning, and I think that I'll just kind of into the record is my understanding from conversations with planning staff earlier today that this conditional use would not in any way preclude a liquor license in any of the redeveloped properties, which are, just a few hundred feet away or less than a couple hundred feet away. So I'm gonna make sure that that's
Yeah, I'll touch on that here
okay.
shortly.
Thank you. I'll mention we did read the security plan, and I would just mention that it is very focused on internal security. It doesn't really touch very much other than they've got some cameras. So, if kids are loitering or if there's activity, on nearby on those blocks that are their clientele that are, whether they're loitering, maybe they're not loitering outside their door, maybe they're loitering, just down the street. That's a little bit of a concern, and it doesn't appear to be any sort of security patrolling or other provisions made by their organization. Again, maybe there hasn't been explained to us. And then lastly, I think this is a little bit new. My understanding, I'm not intimately familiar with yes, but that they're consolidating all of their operations into one facility. So I don't know that they've ever operated a facility consolidated on this magnitude. So although may have great intentions, I don't know that they actually have experience in operating a consolidated with everything in one place. And so I think that brings, of course, concerns that it might not go as planned. And so I think I would also say it might be worth considering whether this has a time limit on it, see how it goes. Maybe it runs for a few years after they're stabilized and up and running. We come back. If it's all great and there's no issues in the neighborhood, I'm sure no neighbors will show up at the meeting. But if it is not going as planned, then I think that gives us all an opportunity to revisit the appropriateness. I know that there are some remedies, but it seems like there's a lot of hoops to jump through, and I don't know that it would be nearly as clean or successful for the concerns of the neighbors. I'm available for any questions that you might have. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Ted. Thanks, Ted. Any questions for Ted at all? Okay, thank you. Are there any other opponents? Please come forward.
Hello, I'm Aaron Kukuski. I work for Scarta Equipment Company, 2563 Farnham, directly across the street. I'm not necessarily opposed. I just didn't know when else to come up. I guess my main concern is, as he alluded to, the security. It seems very internal. We've had multiple issues around our building throughout the years, not with yes people. I'm not saying that at all. But I would like to understand if some of those cameras will be pointed around to other buildings and that ability to help us secure our own buildings as well. We do have our security cameras, we do have all that, but I have to look out for the safety and livelihood of my employees and my business. So that's my concern.
What was your address again? I'm sorry.
2563 Farnham Street.
So you're directly
across
the street?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you expressed that you've had some existing problems with loitering or people just gathering around. Okay.
I've had my suspicions that some of them are from that yes area, but I don't know that for sure, so I can't say that. But my big thing would be is making sure that we are secure and the livelihood of my employees and business are good. So
sure.
Aaron, would you say those issues are one or two people at most of the time, or groups?
It's groups, it's individuals. I mean, the one that specifically comes to mind to me is the building directly behind us burned down about a year and a half ago.
Yes.
And on my cameras, I see a child walking from the yes area to the alleyway behind our building. So that's my main concern there. I want to make sure that my building, my employees, everyone is safe, and that everyone has cameras looking at the area if that's the situation.
How many employees do you have?
34.
Thank you.
Maybe you're making an assumption, but do you think there are some illegal activities going on during those times where you see people out in that area?
Definitely, yes.
Okay. Great, thank you.
Any other questions?
No, thank you.
Thank you.
But I will call, I'm sorry, forget your name again. Lenise, back up. All right, so.
Lenise Steiger,
touch-
5812 Poppleton.
Thank you. So touching on, I asked a question, they touched on the security issues as well.
Of course.
So you want to maybe talk about that a little bit more in depth, if you can, about what you anticipate, and if you had any issues with your existing operational facilities with regards to loitering or kids that come in and.
You know what? We have not. Usually youth who are experiencing near homelessness or homelessness normally like grab their things that they need, whether it's a shower, washing clothes, a pantry bag, and they exit. You know, youth are very different than an adult homeless person. Like, they do not want to be seen. They want to stay under the radar. I will also mention that we're also putting on 24 affordable units into this building that were formerly market rate. We also have a curfew for the kids who live there, which will be at 10 p.m. It's also completely staffed overnight. So there'll be bed checks, all of those sort of things.
Do you have residential facilities within your existing operational units?
Yes.
Okay, all of them?
All of them.
Okay.
All of them.
So when you combine, one of the issues that was raised is if you're combining operations into one facility, do you have the wherewithal, the expertise on staff to be able to manage a consolidated operation like this?
Absolutely, we do. And again, we have had almost 6 years now to actually put those org charts together and to figure out how that actually works.
Is there an executive director of Yes?
There is. It's Kalisha Reed. She's been the ED there for about 5 years.
Okay. I'm kind of surprised she's not here, to be honest with you. I wish she would have been here.
You know what? Unfortunately, she had a conflict, and so I believe, was with you guys yesterday, and then we just flipped.
Okay.
I will also say that I am more than happy for Yes and board members to meet with anybody in the neighborhood to address any of their questions or concerns.
Yeah, this board has been pretty consistent over time to make sure the communication takes place
Absolutely.
between neighbors and on any project.
Mhm.
You're right. And so that's very, very important, obviously, to answer some of the concerns that Ted, I don't see him, but that he raised with regards to.
Of
and
course.
this young man too, that they were raised with regards to what's this going to look like? Just kind of what we're talking about now. too.
Correct.
And
Correct.
that's very important for the neighbors to understand your operation too.
Well, obviously, in the absence of clear communication and information, what happens is that assumptions are made. And
Yes.
assumptions are always skeptical.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we recommend everybody that comes before us for a similar type situation, that they meet with everyone within the area so that all those are put aside before they even come here.
Of course.
So I'm not sure which way this is going to go, but would encourage you certainly to have those communication.
And that should be ongoing,
Yeah,
really.
all the time.
Absolutely.
I mean, you're neighbors and you got to get along with each other. And, yeah.
Is there anything else?
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, you bet.
All right, Eric.
Yeah, so obviously,
Close the public hearing, by the way.
we obviously spent a lot of time on this in the pre-meeting and breaking down, all the different services and the operations. So I had mentioned the portion administrative and program offices, the Youth Pathways Navigation Center, which is the Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, offering access to meals, showers, laundry, pantry items, and so on. And then also the residential component, the short-term housing, as well as the longer-term housing for those that are, those uses are classified as multifamily residential. There's also the general office, the guidance services. Those are all permitted uses in Central Business District. And then obviously the non-commercial day shelter component, which requires the conditional use permit. So I think we went through quite a bit of detail on what was included with the operation statement in the application. Also with non-commercial day shelter, there are supplemental use regulations that require additional information as part of the application, similar to what we see for small and large group living uses. So all of that information was adequately provided with the application. Additionally, there is an advisory committee that is required to convene regarding non-commercial day shelters. So this is an advisory committee that changes based on the location. It's not a consistent meeting. Obviously, we don't have this application, but maybe once every 2 to 3, 4 years. And so we did convene that advisory committee yesterday and had discussion. So per the code, that requires participant from the planning and police department, as well as the applicant/operator. City Council has a representative. Councilmember Danny Bagley was able to attend. And then there is a general neighborhood representative. In discussions with Councilmember Bagley, city staff, we were in agreement that a representative from Koontz Memorial Church, directly west of the facility, would be an appropriate representative, and we had 2 members from the church attend. So as part of that, the planning board did receive minutes of that meeting, which are made part of the record, and we can provide to anyone who requests that information. But basically, we described the process, what is, the advisory committee's role, and the applicant then goes through and discusses their proposed operation, and then it's opened up for committee members to ask questions or have discussion. So some of the items that were discussed, police obviously talked about security and had some questions. Just general operations were discussed, and after probably about 20 minutes of discussion, the advisory committee recommended approval by a vote of 5-0. So that is not, it's not ultimately, because this is a conditional use permit, the authority lies with the planning board, but that's an extra layer of detail that's included as part of this use type. That's more uncommon, not something that we have, I don't think, for any other uses. As part of the recommendation report, we do have a component that talks about a waiver of operating hours and receiving a waiver from the Zoning Board of Appeals. There was a little bit of uncertainty that staff had in the operations statement that we wanted to just be on the safe side to include, specifically as it pertained to the residential units, if they were accessing any of the services provided by the day shelter component after hours. During the advisory committee, the executive director, Kalisha, had mentioned that no, that is not the case. But that is why that's included in the recommendation report, just to make sure that that component was covered. But it, after further discussions that, might not have been necessary, but we are keeping that in there as the recommendation report states. During our pre-meeting, before we had discussion on this case, I did have a conversation with the law department, which I'll probably bring Jennifer Taylor into the conversation. The question had been posed to law about, and as mentioned during Ted Zetzman's testimony, is there any preclusion about this operation as it pertains to acquiring other businesses or future development or current development of acquiring liquor license. So Jennifer, I don't know, I'll give you the opportunity to speak. You did send me some language that you believe would be an important component to add as a condition, but I'll let you go into a little bit further.
Good afternoon, Jennifer Taylor, City Law Department. The question was asked as to whether or not the approval of a conditional use permit for this location for a non-commercial day shelter would be problematic or prohibit the neighboring buildings from being redeveloped to bar or restaurant uses. Nebraska Revised Statute Section 53-177, which is in the Liquor Control Act, does state that no license shall be issued for the sale at retail of any alcoholic liquor or bottle club within 150 feet of any church, school, hospital, or home for indigent persons, or for veterans, their wives, or children. So the home for indigent persons would probably be the only thing that relates here. Upon a reading of the proposed operations plan, the day shelter does not appear to be a home for indigent persons. That would be more of an overnight, Sienna Francis style shelter. That's not what's happening here. So what I did suggest was that In the event that we want to address that concern specifically, you could add a condition that the applicant agrees not to ever modify or alter their proposed use of the shelter, the day shelter, to be one that would be considered a home for indigent persons pursuant to this statute.
Okay, thank you. So I know this is kind of a sudden, if I could have Lanice, I just want to call you up. Obviously, this is the first that you're hearing of that.
Sure.
Do you have any questions of how that pertains, or do you have any concerns?
I do not have any concerns whatsoever.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
So that being said, when I do read the recommendation, I would add a 8th condition that the city would be proposing. Sorry, we don't like to do it on the fly, but I guess I'll leave it at that. I don't know if the board has any discussion or if you'd like me to read the.
Please. Go ahead. You go ahead and make your recommendation, and I'll open it up for discussion.
Real quick, the question that I would have is, would they not have to come back to this board to change the use from essentially in the urban area to more of a Sienna Francis?
Yes, if the operation was proposed to be adding an overnight component similar to Sienna Francis, we'll use that, as the basis, because I think most everyone understands how that functions and operates. Yes, absolutely, that would require a major amendment. I think law believes that, adding it just for clarity's sake, because the question was posed, is how we would.
Eric, that is correct. And you're right. They would have to come back for a major amendment to change that. But adding the condition in light of the objection or the concern that was raised simply just makes that clear up front.
Okay, so I will read this. After the board has discussion or makes a motion and a vote, Jennifer, are you comfortable with whoever's making that motion to state with the added condition number 8 as stated by staff? Or do they need to read verbatim?
As stated by staff is fine.
Okay. So the law department is clear after I read the specific proposed condition number 8 that whoever, if they feel inclined to make a motion that includes that extra condition, basically stating as stated by city staff. So you don't have to try to reword it and miss certain pieces and components. So, city staff recommends approval of a conditional use permit to allow a non-commercial day shelter in the CBD district, subject to the 7 conditions listed in the report, with an additional 8th condition that states, the day shelter use shall not be modified or changed to constitute a home for indigent persons or for veterans and their wives or children, as set forth in Nebraska Revised Statute Section 53-177.
Okay. So discussion. So just going to read a portion of the minutes from, was it yesterday's meeting?
From the advisory committee.
From the advisory committee. Captain Paul Hansen of the Omaha Police Department stated that, and I'm stating verbatim, Captain Hansen stated that he has reviewed the proposed use and mapping, and he had no concerns regarding this project. Because there's a lot of questions regarding security that came up. And the captain of the Omaha Police Department obviously has stated in that meeting yesterday that he had no concerns with what he saw. So I just want to make sure that you guys saw that. I'm sure you read the report.
I'd like to just make an additional comment in that regard for Ted and Eric. Is your name right? Yeah. Anyway, everybody's concerned about security, and each of these services that are being offered in the area, these are privileged services for the people that are trying to get their life back on track, okay? There's rules that they each have in place so that they have to comply with that or they can't be there. And to back that up, they have security internally and externally, and you have externally, and you do as well, I'm sure. to see what's going on in the neighborhood. And quite frankly, these people can be removed if there's a problem, and they're going to be visible. And the more cameras you have in the neighborhood, the more likely are they're going to be caught. So I think from a practical aspect, it seems to me like having this in the neighborhood from that perspective is beneficial. These youngsters, I'm an old guy, so they're young to me. If they don't understand the privilege that they're being granted, they aren't going to be there very long. And so that I think backs up the fact that the security in this area is going to be adequate for everybody that's in that neighborhood, in my opinion.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I had a question. I know you've closed the public hearing.
No, go ahead.
Is it possible to bring up one of the opponents or proponents?
Sure.
Okay, I have a question for Mr. Zetzman.
Yes.
So, Ted, for you and the interest that you're representing here, is this kind of a binary thing for you guys, or is there a way to work through this? Or another way to say that would be, this doesn't work for your party, or this could work with some additional dialogue? Where would you say your interests are?
I think it's a very worthy cause and it's necessary services. I think I've been doing this long enough that I think I can kind of, see where it likely goes. I don't know that it doesn't work. I guess that's part of the issue is nobody has explained to us how it does work. Particularly the people that are specifically involved in the daily operations of the facility. And, we just haven't heard that. And so that's both disappointing and I think raises question marks from us because we're going to have to live with it. And so I think we deserve that opportunity to hear from them and have that dialogue and have an understanding as a neighbor. And then, so I don't know that it's not necessarily binary. Do I have a preference? Sure. But, I think that that's something we could probably and might have to get our arms around. So,
if we made an additional condition that the organization must have a dialogue with adjacent neighbors, would you be okay with that as a condition? Just to force them to have that dialogue with you?
I guess I would like to have the dialogue and hear what their answers are and have an opportunity to come back and say we had a good conversation, or they are not, they did not make us feel confident that, things are addressed. And again, I think it's not just within range of a camera, but like what is going on outside after they leave the camera, down the block, whatever. I mean, those are things that are concerning to us. And I know that the kids, need to comply in order to be there, but I'm sure there's a rate that they don't all, it's not a 100% success rate, and some are gonna have issues and are gonna not be invited back. And that, quite frankly, those are the ones that we're gonna have a problem with. It's not the good kids that are in the program and successfully completing it. It's the ones that are not successfully completing the program, and there are gonna be some. So no, I think we should have that conversation. We should hear what they have to say, and then we should be able to come back here and say that we had a great conversation and we completely understand where they're coming from, and we are all in agreement. I mean, that would be ideal.
That's your preference. But we've heard testimony here today that there's existing issues already in that area with loitering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Chairman, I have a follow-up for the applicant.
Sure.
For Lenice.
Lenice.
Lenice, good to see you. I know you from another civic enterprise. Congratulations on your civic leadership with
Thank you,
Youth
John.
Emergency Services. I think the board is really very supportive of the concept and the mission of Youth Emergency Services. That said, just echoing the chairman's comment earlier, maybe just a little surprising to the board not to have the executive leadership, the CEO, as wonderful as board members are and consultants here to respond and dialogue. My question for you would be, if the board considered it, is Youth Emergency Services open to some period of dialogue with commercial interests in the neighborhood to have that dialogue and settle any concerns?
Absolutely.
expose the plan?
Yes. Obviously, like, we wanted to be good neighbors. Our offices have actually been in this building for the last, I believe, 4 years. So yes, we're more than happy to.
So you've been in the neighborhood 4 years already, just not
Yes.
with the residential
Correct.
component.
Correct. And once again, the drop-in that is part of this discussion is actually 1 block to the south.
And I heard you mention 24
24 affordable units.
affordable units. How do the residents for Yes, how do they afford those units? Is it they're affording them or the organization is supporting them?
No, they are actually affording them.
They are affording them.
Yes. So if you are living there, you either have to be in school or working full-time. Most of these kids are actually working 1 or 2 jobs. After they are done, it's usually between 12 and 18 months, they actually get the majority of their rent back. So they can like go into like, more, I guess, like individual housing. And then they will continue to be supported while they are in market rate housing throughout the city.
I think that's the beginning of painting another picture of
Sure.
what this development may mean. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Sure. One additional question. Are most of the youth that come to you, are they experiencing emotional issues more so than behavioral issues? Or both? Maybe
Yes.
a combination
You know
of both?
what? Normally, no behavior issues whatsoever. Normally, it is like some emotional issues. I mean, obviously, if you potentially are like raising a young baby on the streets, sure, like, you're going to be having some trauma around that. So, we're really looking forward to like having especially those young moms and kids in a safe space. We're also working right now with Completely Kids, who I believe they just had a groundbreaking about 2 blocks to the south. So like our moms will actually be using their daycare facilities as these moms are going to work in school as well.
Yeah, it's a great organization too.
Yeah, it really is.
One more question, Mr. Chairman, this time for Jeff. Jeff, could you describe for the board what the impact of a 30-day layover of this issue would be, both from a financial and performance standpoint on the project?
I'll defer to Lanice here, but I would say that, the preference would not be laid over. I mean, we'll continue to work with our partners around. Obviously, we didn't reach out to everybody we needed to, so I want to apologize on everyone's side here. We should have communicated a little better on that. But yeah, we want to be a good steward and a good partner. I think there was a point brought up about having too many of these services together nearby might cause some sort of security problem. I actually think the opposite. I think that will help provide a better support system for everybody involved with all the different services that are nearby. So I think that might actually be a benefit to everybody. But just to answer your question, would a 30-day layover be a problem? I would say no, but I would strongly encourage everybody to be in support and vote and approve this measure. So.
Okay.
Should get an answer from
Thank you. Any other questions?
Go ahead, Dave. I think we need to hear from Lenny's that answer to that question.
Again, it'd be our preference. We are, there currently is a tenant in that space. They will be exiting their lease here fairly quickly, and we would like to start like design and building permits so we can actually like spend down some of this NSORG money that again has been an impetus, I guess, for us to move forward.
You own the building?
We do.
Okay. So obviously you want to get operational as quickly as possible.
We do.
Thank you. Okay. Did you read your recommendation?
Did.
All of
We added a.
You added that last one. Okay. All right. So I closed the public hearing. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion to lay this over to the next meeting for reconsideration.
Okay, we have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Just to remind the board here that a vote today, we have one absent member and then we have one vacancy. So the vote today, if it's a 3-2 vote, it has to be a 4-1 or a 5-0 vote. If it's a 3-2 vote, it'll be laid over automatically because it's a vote of the total number of board members, not a vote of those board members in attendance. Okay, is that correct?
Well, we wouldn't do it automatically. Obviously, the motion.
Well, yeah, it'd just die.
Yeah, if it would die, and there would need to be another motion. If obviously the motion that was set forth for the layover just requires a 3-2 vote or 4 votes or 5. But it's approval or a denial that requires the 4.
Why would it be any different? What's that?
Approval requires 4.
Only an approval? Why wouldn't a layover?
The code is written to say approval requires 4. I generally interpret that to mean that denial requires majority. Approval requires 4.
Approval requires 4 of the 7. Okay, just so.
It's 4. It's 4 either way.
It's the majority of 7.
7, yeah.
Majority of.
Sorry, I just confused the ZBA rule with the planning board.
Right. Okay, everyone clear on that?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right.
Wait, I have a question. Jennifer, are you saying a layover requires 4 as well?
I think you can do a layover with 3.
Because yes, we have handled that in the past with 3.
You can do a layover with 3.
Yeah, because usually there would be an approval that was thrown out and we could not get to the 4, and then the board was stuck and stagnant, and then there was a layover motion. I think it had 4 or 5 votes, but I just want to be clear. Okay.
Thank you. Okay. So we have a motion and someone seconded the layover. Seconded Jorge? Okay. So. Kathy?
Layover to next month.
To layover, yeah. Kathy, please record that motion.
Rupert,
Yes.
Rosacker,
No.
Sotolongo,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Mr. Chair.
No. So 3-2.
Vote 3-2 approved for
So it's approved to
layover.
layover. So here's what I would encourage you to do. Okay, it's not dead, and I hope it, and I really do hope it survives because I think it's an important one. I really do. I think this whole board does. It's an important service that you're offering, and I think it's going to be great. Get with the neighbors, have your meeting with the neighbors, bring back any concerns with to the city department, and let's move forward with it. But it's just a 30-day layover, so we'll keep it going. Okay, that's what I would suggest we do.
And I just want to state for the opponents, we will not send out new notices with the layover to the next month. So you will not receive a city notice, but obviously the vote was to be on the May planning board meeting.
And I would also highly recommend that your executive director be at the next meeting. Okay. All right. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
All right. With that, I need a motion to approve the minutes from the March 4th, 2026 meeting, both pre-meeting and regular meeting.
Motion to approve the March meeting minutes and the pre-meeting minutes.
Thank you. Kathy, please record the vote.
Rosacker,
Yes.
Sotolongo,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Rupert,
Yes.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Approved 5-0.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Kathy, please record the vote.
Sotolongo,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Rupert,
Yes.
Rosacker,
Yes.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Approved 5-0.
Thank you. We are adjourned.